Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Arcane Challenger Series. I'm Tim, here joined today by John. How's it going, John?
Not bad. How you doing, Tim?
Pretty great. And we got another game here where we're playing Vyros1 versus Borka1, right, John?
Yeah, Borka1, one of my favorite casters.
So the goal here is to see if John can dethrone the mighty Vyros1, who has been tearing it up. I played a lot of Vyros1 games. I'm ready to not play some Vyros1 games. I'd like to switch to Circle. It's what I'm probably going to be taking to the WTC. So,
and the OTC on top of that, probably, right?
Yep, the OTC on top of that. So today my Vyros list is a fairly typical example of what you've seen before. I'm running the multiple Griffon version of the list. So I have a Chimera, a Sphinx, 7 Griffons, max unit of Infiltrators, a Lys Healer, and then 3 Arcanists with Sylys Wyshnalyrr attached to Vyros. What's in your list, John?
I'm bringing something different for my Borka1 list. I used to run Borka1 with family units. I used to have a lot of champions. You can no longer run 3 units of champions, so now I have 1 full max unit of champions with Skaldi and the champ solo. I have min stones with UA. I have a Mauler. I have a rock. Those are my 2 war beasts in my group. I have a max unit of Kriel warriors with a cabber. I have a unit of Fennblades with the UA. So I'm bringing a lot of dudes. I'm hoping to use Mosh Pit quite a bit to proc off my dudes so I can get some easy charges going on.
And your Band of Brothers are tier list, right?
Yeah, I am in a Band of Brothers tier list.
Band of Heroes, sorry. Band
of
Heroes.
Yeah. Well, that's what I call it, basically. They all brothers.
Band of Brothers, Band of Heroes. At this point, it's...
Yeah, I am in the tier list, so it's pretty solid. So I'm extending. I deployed at the 12 inches.
Mm-hmm.
So
yep.
2 inches, and I have takedown on everything.
Awesome. All right. Well, without further ado, let's get right on into it. So turn 1, Vyros gets to go first, and I think it's pretty essential. Whenever I win the die roll with Vyros, it's pretty automatic to go first. He really loves to pressure zones, to throw a lot of models up in there. So the Chimera operates up, and Vyros doesn't need to allocate anything because everybody powered up, and it's a nice easy start. Vyros casts mobility, advances 7, and throws out Inviolable Resolve onto himself. It's a pretty classic start for me. I feel like in the matchups where Vyros has the potential to be threatened, putting Inviolable Resolve on him is a pretty obvious play. Run that Chimera up. It doesn't run. It just advances 8 inches. With the operate move, it's 10 inches up the board. That's a fine place for it to be. I like it to second wave, so I've got access to throwing Stranglehold out on something like John's Mauler or Rock. And it still has a focus on it because it gets +1 defense against ranged attacks. I mean, I don't think there's anything in John's list that he's necessarily going to be able to spike or scalpel out the Chimera with, but in the off chance that he did, just the habit of making it def 17 in the trench is really useful. So, and I'm just checking threat ranges, making sure I don't give John a free charge.
So going into this matchup, like, you didn't know what I was going to bring. You seen it first thing before we set up. What was your thoughts about how you're going to play into my list? There's a lot of dudes.
Generally speaking, I think Borka1 is a really good generalist. He is one of the trollcasters who kind of just does a lot of things very effectively. I've seen him run a really big battle group really well. I've seen him play, lots and lots of dudes very effectively. Like Mosh Pit's a powerful buff, his feat's a powerful buff, and he is nigh unkillable. So on the assumption that you had a lot of options for what you brought list-wise, I decided to bring the version of my Vyros list that is most generalist and that I'm most comfortable with. This is the exact version that I played at War Machine Weekend Champions when I won that event. This is, it's the list that I'm familiar with. I mean, other people have played a list not unlike this before, but I mean, I feel like I've been playing it for a long time, and I've got some credit to what I have done with it. So I'm pretty happy with it, and I don't want to underestimate what you're able to bring to the table with Borka1 and play an inferior version of my list that doesn't have the tools.
So going into my first turn, it's a little scary already due to the fact that all his Griffons already threaten my army. So now I have to make the decision of what I want to put up the board for him to take out on his second turn. I don't want to leave any heavies free because definitely a couple Griffons can kill a heavy under a few turn. Not a problem. Like, you just take them off the board. So I got to make sure I play relatively safe, but still aggressive enough where I threaten you the following turn. So my plan here is to set the champions up all base to base so they get the +2 defense for being in melee. and eventually they're going to get Arcane. They're going to spell warded. Or man, what is that spell? Arcane Ward. They're going to get Arcane Warded, so their defense is going to be 14 and then 16 against melee. So they're going to be a tough cookie to crack off the table all game. So the champions just run up, set up behind that flag. They have Relentless Charge with Skaldi, so that rough terrain in the front of me isn't actually scaring me. So it's like more of a bait. I'm hoping Tim will not engage me so I can get some charges off. So I'm planning that. My Cure Warriors are all going up the middle of the board, jamming as much as I can just to play it safe. I'm checking Blast Radius because you have a...
Yeah, you're playing around Eliminator there.
Yeah.
Which is relevant because that's often an infantry clearing tool I use in Vyros. It's only AoE 3, but with Sylys Wyshnalyrr's Arcane Secrets, like the POW 7 Blast can do relevant damage.
Even with medium bases, that AoE 3 is a little bigger. It's a little bigger bubble.
No, it's the same size.
Is it?
It's
it just takes up more on the board, I feel, because now I have to like spread my units out a little farther because it's medium bases.
Yep. Yeah, you do have to spread them out a little bit. With Vyros, I feel like getting good use out of his spell list is actually kind of one of the things that unlocks him as a caster, really exposes his full potential. So that's one of the things that is really relevant in what I'm building the list for here. Is I'm just trying to make sure I'm getting full use out of him, because often those Griffons are fine with just whatever they get for power up. So Vyros has a full stack available to spend, and because the Griffons all have native Pathfinder and they ignore the forests and they're pretty quick, like sometimes I don't even need the mobility. So having extra focus to cast Stranglehold, lock down a heavy, cast Eliminator, clear some infantry, like that's gonna really help me on the attrition angle.
Yeah, so top of the board is my Fennblades. I'm hoping they'll be able to hold at least two turns out, top of the board contesting that flag. So turn 2, turn 3, hoping they can stay there and contest those flags.
And you have a Fell Caller there too, right?
I have a Fell Caller +2 mat or stand or march or whatever's needed. They didn't pop their mini feet. They could have popped their mini feet and ran. I thought of it just to jam you up. I think that's probably the better play here, but I wanted you to come to me and commit on the top side.
Forest's a bit awkward because I can see through it with Bird's Eye.
Yeah.
You can't.
So, rest of my army here is my little pig walked up, gave Borka 2 more Fury and Stumbling Drunk. Rock and Mauler just kind of walked, ran and riled. Arcane Ward went on top of the champions. 3 in the stone popped the aura. I'm camping, I think 1 overall. Camping 2 with 3 on the board. Yeah, camping 2 with 3 on the board. I feel the extra 2, he becomes a Fury 7 caster with Little Pig. So if you use it right, it's you got transfers no matter what, but you got to play it. You need to play it smart, because sometimes you can like use a pig first and then realize you have too much Fury, or you can use a pig second and then give you 2 more transfers and then you have too much Fury on the table as well. So you need to play it right. And I used to love playing him, and he's a really strong caster. So I feel safe here.
Makes sense. So the Chimera apparates. What I would really like the Chimera to be able to do is to position to throw an Eliminator at the champions. But I can't because they're Arcane Warded. An Eliminator at a champion just like kills a champion. You boost damage if you need to, and like you just knock one of them out without needing to deal with the melee buff, without needing to deal with any other things. And that's just one smaller armor cracking piece in John's army. And it's an army that doesn't have a ton of really respectable armor cracking. He's got the Mauler for Rage. He's got Rock, who also has access to Primal. Borka himself can do some work with is it Trauma? Is the name of his weapon? And then Champions are Weapon Masters. And then like Fennblades, if they don't have the charge, they're not great against Armor 18. So I'd like to kill a champion, but I can't. And that's I think going to be really one of the major things about this matchup, that because John can really protect the critical element in his list, which is the armor cracking, you're going to see that materialize as a problem in multiple ways. So the Infiltrator unit here is running up. I'm trying to position aggressively with them. This is maybe a little bit odd. My assessment here, I get a couple of charges, and I'm just trying to take out some Fennblades. Kriel Warriors. Also a couple of Fennblades. My assessment here is that I need them to do infantry clearing work, and even if I'm only left with 1 or 2, John doesn't have that many heavy armor targets that I need the feat for. So my goal here is to clear some of his infantry off and remove from him the ability to jam me endlessly. Because if he can't jam me endlessly, I project better threat than him and I have better armor than him. So that's my win condition here, is prevent the jam. But remains to be seen if I can manage that.
They kill you managed to kill 2 Kriel Warriors and 2 Fennblades, proc and Vengeance, but you're probably thinking that Fennblade unit's not going to be around. There's not going to be enough of them to worry about Vengeance. This is what I'm feeling, because you go up and you start making a few attacks here, missing 3 attacks.
Yeah, missing 4 attacks. I missed with the shield as well.
Oh yeah,
And then you tough the 5th one.
and then I toughed the 5th one. So that's just a Fennblade being a Fennblade. Like, that's just, Tim missing his dice. Technically, he should have killed 2 more there. So now you have to sacrifice another Griffon up there to kill the 2 Fennblades originally you were trying to aim for, right? So my tough checks are on. I've made 3 tough checks out of 5.
Yep. Yeah. So you made a few tough checks. So, I mean, it's gonna deviate back to averages, but it's still it's another thing that keeps your infantry present on the board, which I think is one of the biggest strengths of your list here.
And the good thing about having a fell call in this list, I can make tough checks if we knock down, and then she can just say rise. Like models were saying in her command can rise up, which is so good. And then they can activate and charge. Like, they can charge after they rise. So it's a really tricky thing. I don't use it often. I should, but I should definitely use it much more. But I don't know, I usually use it for the +2 to hit. It's just so strong.
Yeah, I mean, the +2 to hit is crazy. It lets you hit way above your class. I mean, your Fennblades get to be mat 8, which is amazing. So you can see we've got a couple of shots here where, those Griffons going in are trying to, again, I know I've procced Vengeance this turn. So the goal becomes get as much work against those Fennblades done as possible, such that Vengeance isn't a big downswing for me. Like, I don't generate more attacks for you than I remove.
So this is where now I should have popped my mini feet and ran first turn. Due to the fact now you were able to close the gap closer to my side of the board and lock me out of their flag even more, and losing all these Fennblades, where if they were up another, say, 4 inches, or 2, I didn't run them all the way, but if they were up like halfway through the 4s, it wouldn't be such a problem trying to get towards that flag.
I don't know. I think that's of dubious merit, John, because a couple of those Griffons had to fleet to walk into the positions that they did.
Okay.
So that buys me yet another attack on them. The 2 guys who are up at the front, they didn't get shield attacks. The furthest forward Griffon did not get a shield attack. That's 1 more attack I would have had. I mean, I think you give me 4 full attacks by doing that.
Okay. Just things you think about, right? During as you're watching your own gameplay, it's different.
Yeah, so Vyros casts a Sounds Important Stranglehold here. He boosts damage on the Mauler, and I roll like garbage and do no damage. And Stranglehold is conditional on doing damage. So that's bad. I attempt to Stranglehold again. That one misses. I'm on 1, which was the one I was going to boost it with. So Vyros, who has... This is actually kind of cute. So, let me explain this quickly. Vyros has Bird's Eye, so he can see through the forest. He charges the Fennblade leader model, does not get enough distance to clear the flag, is overlapping it, so he displaces back to last legal position, is now base to base with the flag, and is in a position to score on it next turn.
Yeah, this caught me by surprise. I didn't see this coming, and now having him on that flag to score, on my turn, I need to now contest pretty quick.
Yeah, it's relevant.
What we were doing there, I was looking up the rules for Stumbling Drunk off a rock, because he has a bond now with our Borka1. He gets Stumbling Drunk. It is on hit, spell, attack, range damage, anything. As long as he's hit, he has to Stumbling Drunk, and it's a must. You cannot pass. You must do it. So that's what we just did, and basically just bumped into another warrior or something. Didn't go anywhere.
So now, I talked a little bit before about how if Vyros was in a position to eliminate her, it would have been really clutch to eliminate one of these champions. I'm trying to see what kind of work I can do against them. Again, they're pretty essential to what I'm going to see in the list. So I lead off by charging Skaldi. Now, this is a really cute thing Vyros can do because he has access to Bird's Eye, which means I have line of sight to Skaldi. When I initiate the charge, I can see him because I ignore intervening models. Now, I get outside of my own control area when I get there, but the tangent on his base means I still have line of sight to him. So I thought it was a kind of cute play. I did hit, but I did inconsequential damage. Not enough to kill him. I think I leave him on, 5 boxes? 3 boxes? Leave him on 3 boxes. I mean, it's good damage, but I would have really liked to kill Skaldi. Now, I mean, arm 16, dice -3. I mean, probably I do 8, but I certainly...
Arm 18 Understone?
Oh, sorry, Understone. Yeah, so I should leave him on 2. I leave him on 3. That's not something to complain about. I don't make shield attacks with that Griffon because I...
Retaliatory Strike.
Don't want to proc Retaliatory Strike for a POW 9.
Yeah. So, Skaldi used to have 2 inches. So a lot of time during this game, I'm like, oh, wait a second, Retaliatory Strike with Skaldi. Oh, wait, he only has 1 inch now. My Champ Solo used to have 2 inches. He only has 1 inch now, too. So that's another thing I know.
The trade-off, the really, really worthwhile trade-off, though, is that all champions got 1 inch melee.
Yeah, so all champions now have 1 inch, which is great. It means a lot because, like, the Retaliatory Strike, people must play around it. And having a POW 11 Weapon Master Retaliatory Strike or a POW 12, depending on the stone, is really strong. So you're managed to take one out. You hit a defense 14.
16.
Yes.
The Griffin there charged. He got into melee.
Yeah.
So the Griffin who charged into melee, they're mat 8 on the charge because they have powerful charge, and I boosted to hit the charge attack roll, so that's a boosted 8, which I feel is fairly safe, and that gives me a boosted POW 13, which at dice -5 does roll a 10, and John fails the tough check there. So we're now back over to your turn, John, and you're resolving vengeance on the Fennblades?
Yeah, vengeance right now. I'm moving up as close as I can, measuring 5 first, because if you measure 5, then you're within. You can see. You can within
a 3-inch move and a 2-inch melee.
Yeah. Melee. So I'm taking vengeance now. A few attacks on those infiltrators, a few attacks on the Griffins. Just pop damage here and there. They're only mat 6. Infiltrator defense 14. Yeah, 14. Yeah, so I need 8s. So now I'm doing some vengeances on the Griffins. I hit. I do POW 12, so I only do a few points of damage. Hits again, POW 12, a few points of damage.
Again, a dice -6. It's really, like, this is not their ideal target.
No, so in hindsight, I should maybe fell back 3 inches and then charged 3 more inches, but I was worried about not contesting the flag at that point. So, like, I repulled 3 guys, the guys inwards towards the flag, so he's within 4 inches as of right now. I'm hoping to get more guys within 4 inches so you can just, like, have to do some attacks to just clear your flag. My goal is try to score on my flag this turn, but the problem here, I have quite a few I need to get rid of, and that Griffin that jam my champions is an issue. Like, I can't get enough champions on the Griffin in the rubble to, enough champions on the Griffin in the rubble to do damage or worthwhile because you have 2-inch reach, right? So I don't want to leave your melee because then they're taking a free strike, which isn't ideal either for the champion.
Yeah, I mean, a free POW 13 on a champion is something I'd be totally happy with.
Yeah, so a bit of a puzzle. Caster goes. I have Mosh Pit in my hand right now. I'm definitely going to cast it. It's definitely going to be my ideal spell for the game. For the game, like if I put Mosh Pit, knock down as much as I can, I feel like I'm pretty safe at having charges or having auto hits basically on melee, because my whole army is melee or like the odd spray or a bomb. So my cast is going, cast Mosh Pit, boosting a bomb, deviates absolutely backwards like 3 inches and goes nowhere. Not exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, the AoE 3 bomb I think hit the only empty spot on the entire board.
Yeah, so like I wanted to hit the one eliminator or the one infiltrator in front of me, so my kill warriors could like surround the other 2 and get combined melee on them, because then they have a better chance of hitting and killing them. So instead, now I have to walk up and do combined melee 2, 2, and 2, where I wanted to do 3 and 3.
Fair, yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, hopefully my kill warriors can get stuff done.
Kriel warriors are mat 5 base, is that
yeah,
right?
they're 5.
Yeah. So going to 7s, I need 7s. Going to 8s, I need 6s. 6s would be much more reliable.
So
that's okay.
7 hit 7, kills the second combine. Needs 7 hits.
Better lucky than good, right, John?
Yeah, exactly. My dice misses last. Oh no, last one was a 3-man. I was able to get a 3-man on the last one.
Yeah, there you go.
So I was able to kill a.
Oh no, the only time you didn't roll a 7 was the one time you didn't need to roll a 7.
Yeah, so they did work. But the problem is now they definitely jammed me out of my possibility of killing the Griffins. Like, I have a lot of work I need to do on the bottom half of the board, and I feel like I can't do it until the following turn, just because I have a lot of stuff in the way.
Yeah, I mean, the eliminators are pretty important. And like, I mean, I've got a bunch on the top side of the board that I'm not worried about losing here, because John's spraying with a fell caller, who is rat 6, I think, which means you need hard 8s to hit, and you're spraying 3 eliminators.
I'm spraying 4 eliminators.
Sorry, 4 eliminators. So you get 1 or 2 here, maybe. Let's see.
Maybe if I'm lucky. So I hit 1, hit 2.
Yep.
Hit 3. Hit 4. Well,
so that
that happens.
that is a problem.
So this was a swing. Like, you might not think it's a huge swing watching it as a video, but during this game, those eliminators were jamming like 3 Fennblades, and I was unable to get closer to the flag. So I'm like, do I give them +2 mat, or do I just do a spray with my fell collar? And I'm like, you know what? Let's go for the hard 8s in my spray, and let's see what I can get done.
You did both. I mean, the fell collar's thing isn't an action.
Yeah, I did do both. Yeah, it's
yeah. I mean, it's not an either or proposition. It's a fell collar does everything all day.
She is so good. So that spray was amazing. It's basically cleared up for my Fennblades just to walk in now to contest the flag, get as many attacks in.
Well, and the other thing that we should point out here is how powerful Vyros' feat is. I mean, as I mentioned before, I don't need the damage fixer a ton here, but having the mat fixer on the feat is so relevant, and just removing like 4 models who are in prime position to proc that is an issue for me. It's real bad. So what are these Fennblades doing here? Are they just moving into attack Griffons?
They're just moving into POW 12s against some Griffons. Basically my idea here is to jam your Griffons.
So you got some good charges, and in a couple of cases you actually got back arcs on Griffons, which is quite relevant. Most of them didn't get the distance to make the charge successfully, but they did, get where they need to be, and now they're repositioning.
Yeah, they have Repo 3.
Inches.
Also, Mini Feet was popped this turn. So
that gives them the Pathfinders. They're not worried about that forest. Yeah.
So my one person's contesting, and that was the plan. So I got 1 model contesting.
So I don't score on your turn, basically.
Yeah, so you're obviously going to score on your turn because there's only 1 model, which is okay, cool. I got to deal with that when it comes. I don't want to... I did everything in the top board first because this bottom half of the board to me is like...
It almost feels like we're playing 2 games. It really does. Like that top half of the board game is a weird attrition match with a couple of Griffons, the unit of Fennblades, and it's this like relatively low POW infantry clearing game where I'm like, I don't need the damage, but I don't, I don't have the volume of attacks, and you're like, I've got the volume of attacks, but I need the damage. Yeah. And then on the bottom half of the board, it's almost entirely the opposite.
Yeah. So what I realized, I forgot that I had mosh pit up. So like whatever was in my command at the top of the half, I think that orange Griffon should be knocked down.
You missed the first couple of attacks, and then you hit all the rest of them. And the first couple of attacks were the only ones that would have benefited from it. So we marked the knockdown to correct the game state, but it doesn't change the damage. It didn't matter
at the game, but it's definitely he is knocked down. There is a token somewhere in there. So yeah.
Yep.
My champions are going. They're just moving. I have nowhere to move or what to do here because the one Griffon is just jamming 5 champions. It's bad.
So 5 champions surround a Griffon.
So yeah, here we go. I just start making some pretty sweet attacks here. I'm at 7.
And they're weapon masters.
POW 12 because of stone.
Yeah, the stone get +1 strength this turn, so they're rolling a dice -6, and the first one does really, really well. The second one also rolls, I believe, a 13 and does 7 points. Yep. The Griffon, something like that.
So shields and 7 points are out into attacks. This one does a few more points.
Yeah, you've almost killed the Griffon. He has 5 boxes
now
left.
I leave you on 3 boxes. So now the plan is here. I'm like,
1 box.
I want to skip my 3rd attack. I want to use my 4th guy now to kill your Griffon and overtake 1 inch to get this Griffon into Rebel.
This is clever. I mean, I don't often see their overtake being used really effectively, and you kill the Griffon with the first attack here, overtake 1 inch. It's plenty to get you into melee with this Griffon. You really only need to tow the Rebel.
Yep, we
measured it. And then
it.
you make an attack against him. This one hits, and it's another dice -6.
Yep.
confirm range on the stone first, but it's dice -6. So you put
most of the shield.
5 more points into this Griffon.
Yeah, it took took most of the shield out, right?
Yeah.
And now Rock's going to spray because Rock can't get into melee.
Yeah, I mean, the spray here is pretty clutch. I mean, I really like the fact that Rock is really a combined arms piece. He crit stationaries you, which is a
Which
thing
was
he can
definitely
do.
what I was looking for.
Yep.
That's
and
why I
then
boosted.
it's a POW 14 or or is it maybe a POW 12?
POW 12. I'll have to check.
I feel like with the aids of digital cards, we could just find that out in a couple.
Yeah,
of
we'll
seconds
check.
here.
But no, definitely went for the crit station. That was a plan. So like it wastes you another focus to on.
We did confirm last turn that guy is just at the very edge of my control area. So
Yeah, he is.
he will power up and he can shake with it, but it's still just one more resource John is taxing, and especially given how quickly that flank is collapsing, it's going to be a problem for me.
So I find like anytime you can force an opponent to choose either to add a focus to take knockdown or shake stationary, it's well worth it due to the fact because like that champion is knockdown and stationary or that Griffon. So like that's 2 resources you have to use. Or
I have to give up a shield attack, or I have to it commits more resources. It's actually funny in another game this week I had a Warp Wolf who was shadowbound, stationary, and knocked down. And I chose not to reave any fury from him so that he would frenzy, because it was more fury efficient for him to shake all 3 of those effects for free with the frenzying than it was for me to.
Rock's a POW 14.
Yeah. I mean, you did good damage to that Griffon. We resolved it correctly in the game. I just wasn't 100% sure. A couple of those guys are a little lower POW than I expected, but Rock is he's a boss. He gets work done. That's for sure. So I got to think for a second here. There's some puzzles on the table, and I've got some options. So I check a couple things out. I'm trying to figure out. The problem is the Mauler and Rock are both arm 20. That's the biggest issue on the table, and let me break this down a little bit. I shake the stationary on the Griffon, leave him knocked down. I intend to stand him up and make at least his jabby attack. So my biggest problem here is that because they're arm 20, I need 10s to stranglehold. Now, boosted 10s aren't particularly unlikely, and Arcane Secrets helps that math out a lot, but I really need to lock down his heavies, because last turn it would have been nice to lock one down, but this turn it's almost essential because they're about to become really relevant. So activate the Infiltrators. The Infiltrators are just moving into position, just trying to clear some Fennblades. The one at the top there makes both of its initial attacks, kills 2 Fennblades with its initial attacks. The one at the bottom misses its first initial, kills with its second initial. The other one kills after he's knocked down because he passed the tough check. So, 4 Infiltrators managed to kill 3 Fennblades. That's fine by me. Like, that's perfectly acceptable. Griffon's on the top there. Knock down one of the Fennblades. Hit the officer with the shield. Do a couple points of damage to him. Buy an attack. And I'm trying to decide if I want to kill the officer or the knockdown guy. I roll on the officer and miss. The other Griffon at the top makes an attack. I just need to remove this whole jam. If I can collapse John's entire top flank, I can score on that flag with relative impunity and just tick my way up to 5 points.
Yeah, this is what I was afraid of. Like, I deployed heavily lower side, and you basically was able to counter that pretty quickly, gain up the board so fast, like the Griffons do. So, like, I got rid of 1 Griffon with 4 champions, not a problem, or 3 champions. And then I'm like, okay, cool. I need to get rid of another champion before I even can score. So, like, I'm a turn away from scoring still. So, it's a little scary for me right now, but I have models, and I'm pretty good, like,
It's worth pointing out that the Griffon who walked into melee with the fell collar there just missed its shield, its halberd, bought an attack with the halberd, hit, and left you on 4 boxes, because the fell collar, of course, has 8 boxes.
Fell collar's a champ.
Yeah, that dude has been just a boss this game. And I mean, there's situations where I just don't have the attacks necessary to commit. Like, as a result of that fell collar surviving, I have to kill him because he's a big relevant piece that can threaten additional mat against Vyros, like do all kinds of things I don't want him to do. And that means that I have to commit him. So, I had to stick another Griffon out to kill him, and that Griffon could have maybe killed a couple of the jamming pieces or been in a position to jam his heavies. Like, I would have liked to be a little bit more relevant than he ended up being. So we're just measuring the stone aura. I just want to know who's in. I want to know how trivial it will be to remove these things, if it's worth getting a shield attack in on one of the Kriel warriors.
Their armor 15, 17 under stone, and 19 on guillotine. So like they're high armor for being 1.1 unit.
Yeah, I get the stone or the shield attack in. It doesn't do any damage. I buy a halberd, and it does kill a second model. So this Griffin manages to come in and kill two of them, and that's pretty good. I'm still cognizant of how risky my situation is. Free upkeep on Inviolable Resolve and Arcane Secrets. I throw out a Stranglehold. With the Arcane Secrets, the Stranglehold hits. I boost damage. Just looking for a 10 here. Just a 10. Boom. Strangleholds. One of John's heavies.
Rock's Stranglehold. Stumbling Drunk.
Yep. I mean, it brings him a little bit closer. That's one thing. And then I try Strangleholding again. This time I boost damage on the Mauler. I'm looking for a 10 again. And that one is no bueno. That's a 9.
You feel safe with 0, though, right? Like, you're camping 0.
Yeah, I don't, like, I really don't want you to be able to be useful with those heavies. Like, I want to lock down 2 heavies a turn. That's kind of what is amazing about Stranglehold. So I position a bit more broadly over onto the other side of that flag. Doing so potentially means I'm leaving models out of Vyros' control for power-up, specifically the Griffin who's on that flag right now. But I'm pretty convinced that he's a sacrificial Griffin at this point. So my choices are about, having that Sphinx in reserve to go see what I can do in terms of contesting and clearing up that flag, and to score on my flag 5 times.
Yeah, you're definitely positioning to hold that river line, basically, because I don't have Pathfinder, and you know that. So having that river in the middle of the table is splitting the board down, like right down the middle. You need to come halfway over that river to contest my flag, and it's going to take you half your speed to get there. So guess what? I want to set up a line of engagement where you have to kill shit before you can even get to my side, right? So you took a shot at my champ solo.
I think it was actually at Skaldi, wasn't it?
Oh, was that Skaldi? Oh, yeah, you're trying to kill Skaldi.
Yeah, so I shot Skaldi, and I killed him, and he passed his tough check.
And he's steady because he's base with the champion.
Yeah, he has the that can't be knocked down, and +2 defense in melee bonus when they're base to base. So, I mean, the Sphinx's gun is actually, I think, pretty amazing in this list. It means I can typically stay just a little bit out of threat range or at the extremity of threat range and do some armor cracking. I'm hoping that the Sphinx can be really relevant on the feat turn, that he can maybe kill some of the things that I don't have the ability to kill, like maybe a Mauler or a Rock, or do work against champions. He's kind of the anchor I've got left in the list in terms of like peace trading heavies. So I'm trying to keep him back.
Okay, so this turn to me is, what can I do to kill the Griffins in front of me? I can't score on my flag again this turn, so now I'm down 1 point again. So I need to contest his turn, so the most he can do is be up 2 points, and then from there, hopefully I can play a scenario game. I'm trying to see how many people I can get on the Sphinx back there. Once again, I put Mosh Pit up, because it's a clutch spell. I have Stumbling Drunk, because the little guy already went. I drop more in the stone, so my aura can be a 7 inches like always has been. I feel like 7 inches like a bubble I like to have, because it's a pretty big bubble for all my army. Rock can't do anything. He's Stranglehold, so he has to either spray or walk away. The Mauler's free, so Mauler can do work. I'm measuring what I can do to kill this Griffin in the rubble, so I can get as many champions to the Sphinx at the back. So, like, it's a little bit of a puzzle. It takes me a little while to think about this. So I'm got Mosh Pit up. I'm going to go, you know what? Kill Warriors can do this. I got to set it up, move them around, do combined arms. I'll knock them down with Mosh Pit. Rat 5 goes to 7. Needs, 5s to hit. 1's knocked down. Pow 12. I don't know if we roll the damage, do we?
Dice -6, yeah.
Yeah, we roll the damage.
You do actually a couple of points.
Yeah, I finish off his shield.
Yep.
Other 2 hit. Another knockdown. There it is.
Yep.
This is a 3-man one, so it's POW 13.
And you don't do damage on that one.
Break even. Oh no, it did one. He did one because he just put 1 in. And the Lone Ranger tried to hit the one guy in the rubble, and he actually managed to succeed. Needs 7.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. I mean, even at map 5, they're hitting Warjacks, and they're def 12 Warjacks because they're lights, but they get a lot of work done.
And it's POW 10. I do 2 points. Yeah, 2 points. So not bad. So now I'm like, okay, now I don't have to worry about free strikes. But how do I manage to get my champions either charging or engaging? I want my champions that far up the board this turn. If they're base to base, Arcane Ward, their defense 16, bring it. Like, that's it. Like, we're going to go for it. I need to get to your side of the flag as fast as I can. I feel like my champions are the best way to do it by flanking hard, coming down. And then also, it would put Vyros in a very awkward position because then if he comes within a certain threat range on my champions, they can be charged with weapon masters with how relentless charge. So, like, I feel like if I can clear this, I can get more champions on this other things. So I'm thinking my champ hero charges. Tim's just showing the best line because you charge and you got to turn right, so you don't actually go past the 1 inch mark.
Yeah, this is actually a question I get a lot as a judge. When you charge, you have to keep the model that you're charging in your melee range the entire time, and melee range is defined as in your front arc since the third most recent errata. And so basically you always go straight forward. You draw a line directly away from your model, and as soon as you are in a position where your facing line is tangent to their base, as far forward as you possibly can be at that vector, that's as far as your charge can be, and that's the point at which you turn to face directly.
Okay, so what I just did there, Rock just stayed still. He sprayed the guy that was knocked down, hopefully for a good spike, just to clear him, because that would have made a huge difference. Did a bit of damage, didn't kill him, so I still have that puzzle still there. The Mauler's walking up, attacking a Griffon, destroying a Griffon. One hit basically took 12 damage. It's 16-20, POW 20, because he's raged himself, right? By another attack, hits, kills. Perfect. One less Griffon for me to worry about, because you still haven't feeded yet. So one less Griffon for me to worry about in your feed turn. I'm debating about how many champions I can get now. Do my champ hero just charge the Finks? And I think we decided he was just short. So had to go back to my original plan was, okay, champ hero charges here. Hopefully kills. And then my champions get the run charge order and basically jam up the middle of the board. That's my plan. That's what I'm looking towards to do. At this point, I kind of want to just get onto your side of the table as fast as possible. And I need to watch out for Stranglehold. So, yeah. So this is what it takes me. This is a 10-minute turn already. I haven't really done much, but I always find like in the middle of the game, I lose time on thinking too much. So I went for it, auto hits, kills, POW 12, weapon masters. Checking if I have any charge ranges, and I have one.
Well, you've got one charge range. We're just not 100% sure if the vector is going to work. So it's, I mean, it's tight. There's a couple of tight ones here. So we throw down a proxy base. It's always better to proxy base it. Takes you to where your 8 is. And let me just confirm that where that proxy base can be placed. Does it have the melee range to you?
It does not, because the corner of the stick is not where the
yep, that's correct.
Proxy base is, right?
You
so
get,
a lot of people need to. So my champions are going to run.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to get the run charge order, press forward, and they're basically going to engage. And then got like 3 guys on you.
Getting base to base. So
getting base to base, so they got a defense 16. These 2 go this way.
The jam works both ways.
And this guy goes there. So now I'm up the board. I have base to base going here. You cannot shoot now because you're engaged.
There's only one man who would dare give me the raspberry.
So my stones get up. So they put my champions in the aura. And I slap the clock over. And that was a 13-minute turn. Tim goes to 2.
Yeah. So this is actually a huge problem. It looks good for me, and then it's actually really not. Like, there's two problems here. The first is that these champions are a big problem. Like, at Dev 16, I need 10s to hit.
So I thought I was being cute here, jamming the Chimera.
Yeah, Chimera.
But aberration out. I totally forget that every time.
Yep, it's clutch. Knowing rules is good. Yeah, so the Chimera apparition's out. I'm hoping I can get a Stranglehold or two. Again, my plan all along has been to Stranglehold things, and it has worked to middling effect. 1 out of 4, actually. 1 out of 4. Yeah, so we Stranglehold and use Arcane Secrets on the Mauler. Boost damage.
No.
And I fail to Stranglehold him again. So we try again because it's really essential that I lock down the Mauler this turn. And once again, I boost damage looking for a 10. And I roll another 9. It's bad. Like, I mean, that's a huge part of the Vyros game is really just locking down enemy heavies. So now I have to do real work. So I feat. Vyros repositions on the flag a little bit. And the biggest problem right now is that I just don't have that many feat targets. I mean, there's plenty of Griffons, and there's definitely that Sphinx at the bottom who's hoping to do some work, but I just don't have very many warrior models left. So I run the 3-member unit of infiltrators. At this point, they're just trying to engage things that are relevant. They don't actually run. They actually just walk. I'd forgotten. They're speed 7, so they can get some good work in here. And they end up running to maybe kill a couple of Kriel warriors. I knock one down after he passes a tough check, and they don't do quite enough damage to be relevant.
The problem is like their armor 19.
Most of the ones that I actually made attacks against are armor 17. It's only the one in the bottom of the zone that actually got the stone aura. But I mean, they're there because if they knock something down, that's one less attack I need to make with the Griffon, and if they don't, still good. So guy makes a shield attack, kills here, buys a halberd, kills with the halberd. You fail the tough check there.
So now you have a line to my Mauler. Like you cleared up the.
Yeah, and I have engaged the Mauler with one member of the infiltrator unit. So I'm hoping a couple of Griffons flanking on the Mauler can do some work. The problem is I don't have a ton of focus on them because I tried to go for the Stranglehold play this turn, and I don't have any Arcanists to really buff them especially. So I just move up aggressively. This guy gets a back arc on the Mauler, and he's in range for the feat. He makes a shield attack on the Mauler first, which connects because I have flank, so I'm at 8. And he does nothing. And then his second initial attack does 4 points. I mean, problem is I'm -7, so I'm expecting to do 4 points on each of these attacks.
Oh, spike there.
And I spike on my next attack.
10 damage there.
Yeah, I need spikes to make this happen. Like,
so 14 damage in 3 attacks.
Yeah, that's good. It's what I need right now, but I would have been much happier if I could have just stayed at 2-inch melee range and done all of these attacks on the Mauler with him locked down at Stranglehold. And if he's Stranglehold, then he can't do anything while engaged by a bunch of Griffons, and then I can finish him on the next turn because I'm not expecting to kill him this turn.
Trying to kill Skaldi.
So I get flank on the Sphinx because I managed to put the Arcanist in melee with Skaldi after powering up. And I buy and boost an attack looking for an 8, and I fail. The Sphinx does miserably.
Yeah.
He misses his first initial, he misses his second initial, he buys an attack, misses it, buys and boosts and misses it.
So misses all 4.
Yeah, so that's a lot of attacks to miss. And maybe the correct answer would have been to boost. I was just hoping that on average I've got like 5 attacks in which to make 8s happen. And I got a little discouraged and abandoned that plan and boosted one of them and also missed that, which hurts. If I boost the 2 initials and miss one of them, maybe I kill a champion. Anyway, it was rough to get no work out of the Sphinx on the feat turn. I don't like to cry about dice. I think it's a losing prospect because then you don't look for what you're responsible for in losing a matchup. But I felt a little bit salty about this dice and it was affecting my play. So I come in with another Griffon on the Mauler, and this Griffon manages to do
1 damage.
1 damage.
Out of 3 attacks.
3 attacks does 1 point of damage.
Because he had to fleet to get over there, so he had
to fleet to get over there. That's true. Because I didn't have a good charge vector.
Skaldi again.
So Chimera comes in with Skaldi, does a combo, and kills Skaldi, but unfortunately he toughs again. Does
retaliatory strike.
A little bit of damage to my Chimera, which is
POW
not
12.
a thing I was hoping for. He is in the Stone Aura, so he is POW 12. Gets work done against the Chimera. And I end my turn. I go to 3 points, so that's good. And
you definitely have the scenario, and you definitely have an aligned engagement on your side right now.
The problem is I'm running out of pieces. I'm bleeding pieces fast. And
oh, still your turn.
We flipped over to you for the free strike, and then I was reminded that the list healer needed to activate. So the list healer moved up and did Power Faith. That's the no knockdown. So I'm trying to play around Mosh Pit a little bit here. My list healer's been sort of waiting in the wings, really just protecting Vyros. So now I'm moving up and I'm trying to protect these Griffons. So at least I'm hoping to be a bit more relevant.
So Mauler's frenzied, or rock Mauler, rock frenzied. I think Mauler frenzied. Yeah, it was definitely Mauler just frenzied.
Yeah.
He just killed one of my own dudes.
Yeah. What happened with that?
That's the issue of stumbling drunk, gaining 2 extra fury, and rock sprayed. Mauler had to buy 2 attacks.
Yeah, I guess you can only pull back 5 fury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like you have 7 to work with, but you only pull back 5, and I'm always camping 1. I feel like
because you're anxious that you don't want to get ripped off the table by a double eliminator or something like that.
Something like that, or even like
a Griffin that gets freed up with a lane and
yeah,
just charges
because like Griffins can like go pretty far. Like they threat quite a ways. But I was just hoping the one would on Rock would not frenzy, or on Mauler would not frenzy him. But you know, it happens.
Yep.
That's one thing you got with hordes. You got to take in consideration. You have a chance of losing a beast each turn if you play too aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
And it happened. I'm down 1 heavy now. That's okay. Like now I'm like, okay, cool. I can work with my champions. What do I do here? I am within 5 still, so I go over, top my guy up. Realize that actually if I do that, he'll take a free strike. Let's go for it.
And the free strike kills him, and he does not tough.
That's all good. I was kind of banking on Tim's dice to crap out. I'm not going to lie.
Just hoping my dice continue to be shit.
I'm not going to lie. Like,
Thanks,
I wanted 2 extra fury to go 6.
That was maybe greedy. That was
it was maybe greedy, but like I
greedy.
figured like I have to contest the zone this turn. And what I was going to do with 6 Fury, I was going to have my caster charge that Griffon on the hill, and then Rock, and he has 6 Fury to kill him, and hopefully like a crit pitch, and then Rock doesn't have to deal with him, and Rock can actually go for the flag somehow. So I'm like, cool. I got Stone pop 1 aura.
I guess the consolation prize for missing multiple strangleholds is that Mauler did basically forfeit his activation this turn.
Yep.
So I mean beggars and choosers, right? Like I shouldn't complain about that kind of thing. And honestly, as I said before, it's something that I try to distance myself as much as possible from is whining about dice, because I think while dice can be bad in games, you need to find a way to salvage it anyway if you're going to win all the time. I mean, if you want to go 6-0 at a tournament, you're going to have a game where you have shit dice and you still have to win. So find a reason that you can still win.
So caster went cast Mosh Pit, then I realized, wait, Illustrated Healer is basically protecting everything. Yeah, it's a little bit of waste, but it's all good. I'll pop my feet for 2 extra movement on everything.
And free charges too, right?
And free charges and free power attacks.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, cool, here we go. Champs, let's surround as much as I can here. I have to contest your flag this turn. I cannot let you go to 4. If you go to 4, you win.
That's the game, yep.
And the thing that contested your flag this turn was my drummer that you left alone.
Yeah.
He is within 4 inches, and he's contesting off of Vengeance.
Did I mention before that the target priority made it particularly rough to try to deal with everything?
With
basically.
extra little models. Like drummer, it's
he has
honestly
no attacks.
does nothing the rest of the game. He just walks around, then repos. Like that's what he does.
Turns out he contests flags well too.
He does, and he's doing it right now. So now my champs are going. They're POW 12, Weapon Masters under stone.
They're POW 12 weapon masters, and they're under the stone. Yes, stone does not give weapon masters.
Yeah, okay,
one of
fair
its
enough.
auras.
That'd be great.
This is the egg on the side situation, John.
So 2 champions went. 3rd champion's going.
You actually miss with a couple of them, which helps me a lot.
Yeah, they're at 7. Need 5s.
You do very, very well in damage, though. Like, I mean,
I kill.
It's probably the right expectation for you to kill.
Skaldi walks over.
Also gets an attack on my Arcanist,
and just
also
destroys
kills
them.
the Arcanist. Yeah, these champions are such a problem.
Champions are so good.
I would have loved to kill one of them with an eliminator early in the game, which I couldn't because you properly arcane warded them.
Yeah.
I would have loved the Sphinx to hit a couple of 8s and just crank damage on them with the flank and kill a few. I mean, getting another POW 17 on them would have been dice -1 with 3 dice. Like that probably
Taking a free strike
kills.
because I need to engage as many, put as many models as close as I can to engage. You don't break armor.
Yeah, because you do have the stone aura and you are unyielding on that particular one.
Correct.
Yeah, so I mean, you jam the zone quite well here. It's it's a problem.
And I'm on my flag to score now. I can start scoring.
Yeah.
So I'm checking how far 4 is. I'm seeing if I can just run rock there.
Yeah, I don't think you can. The problem is rock doesn't have Pathfinder, right?
I think rock is like an inch short. But then it leaves this Griffon in my back arc on my Mauler to charge my caster possibility.
Yeah.
Which is a little scary.
And I mean, you're stumbling drunk, but maybe the Griffon kills you in only 1 or 2 hits. And we checked before because he was in feet range. He is in control area.
Yeah.
So I could fully allocate him. Like,
So
that's risky.
I decided to kill the Griffon with rock.
Probably the right call.
Yes and no. Like, I feel like I need to contest more with just like a few lights. Like, if I have my heavy up the table, the following turn my heavy can get closer to your flag, and then you can't score ever on that flag. But the problem is, I didn't really check time at this point. I only have 6 minutes left. So, like, now having my heavies this far away from Vyros, you're not threatened right now by them.
Yeah.
So, like, that's a scary problem for me now. I'm like, okay, cool. What is my plan here? I'm like, well, I have a champ solo. Let's see how far I can do this. He's charging this one dude.
Yeah, that infiltrator who came over to flank on the Mauler.
Because I think he's right now is...
He's contesting the flag.
He's contesting the flag, so... Rat 8.
Mat 8, but yeah.
Mat 8. Hit skills.
Yep,
I'm not threshing.
Dead infiltrator.
As Tim always asked me to do.
Did you want to thresher on that Mauler, John?
Every single time Tim asked me, do you want to thresher? No, I'm good.
Yep. So I got to contest this flag because John just went to 1. And I've got to clear my zone, which is... it's tricky. Like, he's managed to put a couple of things that really matter here. The Liz healer gets a sort of a vengeance move. It's called Move to Assist, where she gets to walk up to her movement. The Chimera apparated out of melee with Skaldi again, powered up because it's in Vyros' control area. I'm hoping the Chimera can run to contest the zone. I think that's basically all the Chimera can do this time. And that'll at least prevent John from going to 2 this turn and force him to deal with the Chimera. And I've got 9 minutes up on him. So I'm really, really hoping that with that 9-minute turn advantage, I can either find a solution to clearing the zone and scoring out the CPs that I need, or I can keep his stuff relatively low threat and force him to clock out by just not having enough options. So I allocate to a Griffon. Sylys moves up aggressively, running to just jam. At this point, I don't mind losing some support pieces to just hold the line as much as I can. I move the Arcanist into melee. Just again, jamming pieces, just being relevant. The Chimera runs. It doesn't have Pathfinder because I did not mobility this turn and it doesn't have it naturally. But with its 12 inches of movement, it manages to get through that forest and into the rubble, and I'm just at 6.
I didn't see this coming. Like, I didn't see him able to get him around my champions to the forest and contesting with him 4.
The apparition move is clutch. This Griffon who got allocated to makes some attacks, manages to kill the Fennblade with under much duress. I kill him on the 3rd attack, and he toughs that attack.
Drummer toughed.
Yeah, the drummer's a pain.
And now his drummer's dead.
Like, eventually. So we're now at the point where Arcanists are moving in. Again, jamming more pieces. Griffon moves up. This Griffon was supposed to put a bunch of attacks into the Mauler, but I'm gonna put a shield attack into the guy who's in the water to see if I can clear him with a shield attack. He doesn't die, so now I have to put a halberd into him, and he still doesn't die. So another halberd attack still matches armor. He's in a situation right now where that unyielding and the lack of my feet and the fact that I didn't get concentrated power on enough pieces is a huge problem for me. So I move up with this Griffon. He pivots so that he's got melee range on the Mauler, and he's got melee range on that guy that's in the river. And the guy that's in the river this time finally dies and fails his tough check. So now he makes another attack, this time into the Mauler, which misses, rolls another one, misses again, rolls another one. This time he hits. And I'm sorry, into the champion hero. The last one I switched to the champion hero because once I had spent 2 of my attacks missing the Mauler, it made more sense to attack the champion hero. Okay, so I'm jamming the Mauler with a couple of Griffons, which isn't great.
Okay, I got 5 minutes to clear the zone. Here I go. It's going to be nice and quick. I cut for 2. I gotta read stuff because like I'm like, wait, I have crit pitch on my caster. I'm like, okay, I can do this. Rock's gonna walk up, try to kill this Griffon in front of my Mauler. I want my Mauler to get through that water to contest, but Mauler can walk there. Unfortunately, Rock misses.
Rock frenzied, didn't he?
Oh yeah, Rock frenzied this turn. Yeah, Rock frenzied.
Yeah, the issue was Rock took a couple more fury to kill the Griffon than you intended him to.
Yeah, so
you were
Rock
over
frenzied,
again.
so my Mauler has to clear both of these Griffons now. It's like I'm frenzying is basically a stranglehold against me, but with an attack.
Well, I mean, also having a stranglehold against you would have been better.
Yeah. So Mauler's going over, trying to clear Griffons, doing it as quick as I can because if I can get rid of as many pieces as I can, I just need to get my champions contesting that zone. And he was never going to be able to clear 5 champions from his zone.
Yeah,
with just Vyros.
That one's a nightmare.
So I'm unable to kill the Griffons, but I did knock one down because I have caster went and popped Mosh Pit, so they're both knocked down. Rock didn't frenzy.
You already popped Mosh Pit. You haven't activated. Right. So you did not. You're not intending to crit pitch that Chimera out.
No. So
Okay.
I am just contesting the flag on this turn. That's my plan.
Right. Contest the flag. Don't lose the game.
So it's a 3-minute turn so far. I have nothing contesting yet. Stones go. Just running up. Pop the aura. Boom. Done. Okay. Champions. I can get them in there. The 4 inches there because they have Retinous Pathfinder because of Skaldi.
So you're gonna charge some stuff. Just get some charges in. Staying in Sylys' melee, getting to within 4. This champion here is gonna charge
On an angle where he goes base to base behind the leader, and he's still within 4 because you just measured it.
Yep, you're still fucking arcane warded. And
So
16.
2 champions there within 4. The rest are going to run. Yeah, it's a lot of measuring. Like it's just
You gotta be precise.
you
Even
gotta
in
be
late game
precise. In like
situations.
5 minutes left. It's so scary, and like I see a lot of people like who just runs, and it's just like, do you actually have that? Like you need to measure it still, buddy.
Yeah.
And like it's hard to call people out on it. So I've learned to play my game now, where I be as precise as possible. I put the 4 inches there. I'll measure 6 inches for my champions to run. Cool. He takes a free strike. Take your free strike. Like I'm there, and I play as precise as possible.
Yeah, you gotta play the cleanest game.
It takes more time out of my game, but I find my game has improved tenfold since I've started doing that.
Of course. So top of my turn here. I'm running low on options. At this point, John's low on clock, so I need to not lose. The Chimera apparated, but a moment ago was contesting that flag, so I need to continue to contest that flag, and I need to be relevant with it. I'm hoping that what'll happen here is that John has potentially 2 more turns that he can take. He's basically taken this flag away from me, and I'm trying to see if there's a way I can still get it. If there's something that I can do here that can still give me access to this flag, that would require me killing. It looks like 3 champions have to die.
Yeah, 3 champions are contesting. That's it. They're all base to base. They're all defense 16.
Now, if I can kill the one guy who's base to base, maybe the other Griffons can unlock the other guy. The problem is, if it was as simple a matter as Vyros charges in, kills some of them, eliminators, and then slides back onto the flag, that would be easy because Vyros has flank Griffons. He's a Mat 10, POW 14 weapon master with reach. Like, he can wreck those champions. The problem is, because of Arcane Ward and the limited number of models available to me, I can't rely on Eliminator to get me back on the flag. So instead, I allocate focus to Griffons. I pull one back into a position where it can make those attacks, and I'm just hoping that the Griffon spikes damage a little bit. So we make our first initial with a shield. I boost to hit. I hit. Or sorry, pardon me, with the halberd. I boost hit. This is against the guy who's base to base with another one. So I'm hoping that if he dies, he'll drop the defense down on the other guy. He rolls his damage, and of course that guy toughs.
And then he misses the second
Chimera's
initial.
dead, so there's no retaliatory to worry about. But I roll buy the halberd, boost the halberd, hit, and that guy also toughs.
So now I have 3 eyes on 1 leg.
Yeah, the problem is they're steady, and they're tough, and it's a huge pain. Because even though I've taken 4 boxes out of 2 champions, I've basically done nothing with the Griffon that I spent all of the allocation to. So Chimera moves up, stays in contesting range, makes an attack against one of the grunts in the unit, kills him, makes a second attack against the stone itself. buys another one. Kills him that time. John self-sacks. So I've done a little bit of attrition work to the stone. Doing that first would not have changed who benefited from the stone aura, so it didn't make any difference what order I activated that in. Sylys is going to just see if he can roll a hard 11. The problem is it's really hard for him to hit these guys. I mean, at least I don't have to worry about retaliatory anymore. So Sylys repositions a little bit. I debate Arcane Secreting, but it's not worth it with what I allocated. He misses his attack roll, and it's tough to know what to do at this point. I'm staring down the barrel of 2 heavies who are definitely not frenzying this turn, and it's going to be tricky to be relevant. So my out at this point, the thing that I'm thinking about, is John probably doesn't kill that Chimera. Maybe he comes over to my flag and scores on it. Maybe he pitches the Chimera out of the way. But if I position so that the Chimera can engage Borka and Vyros can charge Borka next turn with mobility, then maybe I can assassinate him. So that's my hope here. I pull off the flag. I throw myself in the trench. I put myself 12 inches away from Borka, so range to mobility, charge, have reach on him. He moves up, tries to crit pitch, gets the crit, pitches the Chimera, pitches him far enough that he's no longer contesting the flag. Chimera gets thrown nice and far back, and unfortunately John clocks out.
Yeah, really good game. I had Tim on his heels. I feel like Tim had to think quite a bit during this game.
Well, I had a minute left, too. Like, I wasn't that much further behind you.
Yeah, so like it was a really good game, back and forth. I had a lot of fun playing this list. I have a lot more pieces left from Tim. I think the problem is maybe I should deploy more central. But either way, in the end, the champs survived all game with Arcane Ward. The champs are still good, even at 5 boxes. I feel like you just got to bring them with the right tool packages. You know,
Toolbox?
Toolbox, there you go.
I like
right?
tool packages, though. That's
packages.
good.
You know.
Yeah, that's got to bring the right tool packages, people.
The caster has a toolbox.
Wink.
They want the tool package.
Bow chicka wow. All right, guys, that's our cast for this week. Please subscribe to the channel. Let us know what you think in the comments below. If you want to see more games like this from the Challenger Series, let us know. We're considering at this stage that we may play 3 or 4 more games, wrap the Challenger Series, and kind of declare a winner, and then move on to something new. We also talked in our video last week that Evan and I played about beginning a video cast, which we're airing. We're hoping to air that live, so if that's something you'd be interested in, let us know, tell your friends. We haven't locked in a date or a time yet, but we'll have more details about that soon. And if you've got any ideas for topics or things that you want to share, or casters that you want us to play on the cast, please let us know. Thanks very much, as always, and see you next Monday.